Excellent. Let's get started in 3, 2. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Earth Station 1 podcast. We are back again, and we are going to be looking at how we did with our summer movie picks. It's an annual tradition we always have had when, after we've gone through, reviewed the movies, we've got to go see tons of movies, stuff that we didn't even talk about, and we often have egg on our face for this one, so it's going to be interesting to see which one of us have picked and which ones we didn't pick. And, did we go to the danger zone? No, not one of us picked that one. Who knew? Who knew? As we like to say. But it's going to be a lot of fun to talk about it. Of course, with me, the man who always has egg on his face, Mr. Mike Gordon is here.
Howdy.
Somebody got hit with the con crud.
I did. Yeah, I'm a suffering bastard. Yeah, it's at least it's not like, at least it's not the COVID. So
thank God.
I know that a lot of people made it out of Dragon Con, or didn't make it out of Dragon Con without that little
I was gonna say
take home gift.
It's like, here's your parting gift.
Yeah, even though I was wearing my mask the whole time and doing what I should do, I still got the crud. So that just means more rest for me.
Exactly. Well, it's also, truthfully, and no offense, you were working your butt off at your table on top of doing the panels you were doing, so you were equally worn down from that, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, it was a physically stressful convention, more so for me than usual. So I think that was a big factor as well.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure. And the weather didn't help. It went from being really, really hot, and then it went to rainy and stormy, and then really cool for a little bit, and then the muggies came back. So it was fun. Hot, cold. It's just a recipe for people to get sick. And you also had the rain in the Hilton, so that was a whole nother story for the trip. It was a Dragon Con that most of us won't forget for many, many years, but it was a good time for a lot of us. And sorry you're not feeling well, my friend.
Not feeling well, but I hope our listeners and viewers, forgive my my little dulcet tones.
Well, it gives you that husky, sexy sound, Mr. Gordon. It's good.
Oh, sure.
It worked for Lauren Bacall. It could work for Michael Gordon. It's a good thing. So, and of course, we are joined this week by our movie reviewer extraordinaire, Ashley Pauls.
Thank you. The summer movie preview is my favorite podcast of the year to do. So it's only fair that now I have to be held accountable to see just how well I did predicting this summer movies.
Okay. So don't quit your day job for the psychic tour.
Yeah, I don't think so yet.
No. That is awesome. Well, this is a big episode for us. We are officially announcing it here. Earth Station 1 is a YouTube contributor now. As of this week, we are putting our recordings raw of, our opening segment and our main segment. Usually we, just have the audio versions for you guys all edited, cleaned up and everything. So you don't hear the mess ups, the goofs, or the ums and the ers and such. But we're going to be giving that all uncut to our YouTube folks. So look for Earth Station 1 up on YouTube. And on the same day it goes live up on iTunes and Stitcher and Spotify, everywhere else the audio goes live, the video will go live on the same day, and it should be a ton of fun. It's not going to be all in one episode like our audio is. We're going to have the two different segments. It'll still be numbered, and it'll still be, like this is Earth Station 1, episode 645. So it'll be episode 645 opening, or interview with so-and-so, or, depending what we do that week, so it's going to be fairly easy to find us and everything. And we'll have a link, of course, now in our show notes. And also we will put it up on the Earth Station 1 website too. So we will have plenty of places for you to find our new YouTube channel. So subscribe up there. It's another thing for you guys to subscribe to with Earth Station One. It's pretty awesome. It's a big step for us. And Mike, I think it's the right step for us.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how it goes, but I think I think it's something that we have talked about for a while now, and we'll just see what happens with it.
Oh, very much so. I think it's going to be great to, explore. And you know what? Hopefully you guys will enjoy it. And, as I did a panel at Dragon Con this week, it's a face made for radio. They're making the transition to video. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So definitely join us, and we definitely would love to hear from you guys at home. Please write us feedback at earthstation1.com. Definitely, let us know if you like the video portion, if you like the content we're doing, or if we saw you at Dragon Con. Please, let us know that, you said howdy to us or such, or that you got ribbons from us, or, that you stopped by Mike's table. And, just, it's pretty darn awesome. We had a great time, and it was great meeting a lot of our listeners. And thank goodness we did, and it makes me feel really special inside. So it's pretty cool. Also, want to give a big shout out to our friends over at Tifosi Optical. Tifosi Optical has sunglasses and gamer glasses and safety goggles and face shields and so much more. And you too can get whatever you want from Tifosi Optical for whatever your vision needs are. If you have astigmatism like I do, I just had to get brand new glasses because my prescription changed once again. And you know what? I got really cool glasses, and I'm going to be ordering a pair of prescription sunglasses from Tifosi, so that way I could take it on vacation with me next month. It should be a ton of fun. And you know what? If you put in the coupon code EarthStation1, you too can get your glasses for 10% off, but just not one pair, your whole order. So get more than one pair. It's pretty cool. You'll get 10% off everything. Go to TifosiOptics.com. Okay, kids. Back in the end of May. Actually, sorry. No, this is where the video people are going to pay off. I just messed up. So we basically exactly drink. So basically, at the end of April, we did our summer movie preview. It was myself, Mike, Ashley, and Alex had joined us when he was still with the podcast, and we did our usual annual tradition of talking about what you think the highest grossing movie will be, what will be the highest most popular, what will be the biggest flop, what movies are we looking forward to. So we're going to talk all about that tonight, but also we're going to do a little bit extra with this because we'll also talk about movies that we really liked this summer also. This is like a movie wrap-up type for the summer. And I think this will be a great time to, find out what was your favorite movie of the summer, aside from what we had predicted. So, I think it'll be really interesting to do. And because there's some big surprises that even surprised me that I went to go see. And, there was actually even a streaming movie that came out this summer that blew a lot of people away. And we're going to talk about that also. I don't know, how you guys felt about it, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun to do. So let's get started. Overall, Ashley, how do you think you did this summer?
I can't remember exactly what I predicted, but that's kind of on purpose. I've been trying not to remember because I think I did pretty bad.
Okay, Mikey?
Yeah, well, I know that I've been following it this summer, and I know that there was a lot of mistakes made on my predictions for sure.
Okay, awesome. So I think it's going to be very, very interesting what we end up talking about, and it's going to be fun because the biggest top-grossing movie of the summer, hands down, was Top Gun Maverick,
and it's turning in the box office of the year.
Yeah, it's very close to the top of the year,
and that is like one of the biggest surprises to me ever. I don't know if anybody predicted this except for maybe Tom Cruise.
It's interesting because I went back and listened to the episode, and a comment I made was, "Don't be surprised if this movie does really well because, as I said, America, type thing, and the patriotic feel, especially from a certain genre of the country right now. So, and I guess it was a lot more powerful, and I think it was a lot of word of mouth with this movie and everything, because the reviews were good, but they weren't great, and it blew everybody out of the water, and people who went to go see it they just raved about this movie.
And I feel there's something to it too. Like, people are excited to be seeing these big blockbuster movies again. And I think it was kind of a feel good return to that summer feel. It's not a big franchise, so you didn't necessarily have to watch a bunch of movies preceding it. So yeah, I think, and then it's encouraging to see that word of mouth and things like that can still get people into theaters, because one of the things I was most worried about post-COVID is that I personally love the movie theater experience, and I was worried people get so used to watching things and streaming at home they wouldn't want to go back to the theaters. But I am glad to see that, yes, there are Marvel movies that did well, Top Gun that did well, that people are willing to go back to the theaters. So I think that was a big win for theater chains and local theater owners as well.
Well, I'm also going to throw this one out to both of you guys. You know, Marvel didn't take the winner this year and everything. Two of them. And are we starting to see a chink in the Marvel armor? Maybe.
No, I don't think
that people are getting oversaturated.
No, I don't think so anyway. Because if you think that, then I mean, we're going to talk about the fall and winter movies coming up, but man, if you think that Black Panther's not going to do well, that'll be the true test. That'll be the true test.
I think they went once too often to the well with the Thor movie, because that was one of the movies that I had predicted that I was going to really like and that I was really looking forward, even more so than Doctor Strange. And it's interesting. I know I liked it when I went to go see it the first time. I rewatched it recently, and I started playing on my computer. I started playing on my phone and, stuff like that. And it just wasn't holding my interest as much as I was hoping, as I thought it did. Doctor Strange did the second time I watched it at home on Disney and everything, because Judy hadn't seen it. So, and everything. So I rewatched it with her, and I enjoyed that, I think, even a little bit more, and geeking out even more with the cameos and stuff, knowing what was going to happen and everything. So,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, one concern I have is that the deeper we get into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I mean, I personally love that they're playing around with the multiverse and bringing in these more obscure corners like the Celestials. But just out of curiosity, I wonder at what point like the more casual movie fan or more casual viewer will say, like, this is too much for me, like it's too much to keep up with. And the fact that there are so many movies that build on each other, is that a barrier to new fans, or are people still going to find it by streaming it on Disney Plus and then getting involved in the franchise that way? I don't know that I specifically have an answer, but it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with Marvel going forward. I think Black Panther has the potential to blow both the previous Marvel movies this year out of the water with how well it does. But there's a lot of pressure on that movie too, just because Chadwick has passed, and that legacy is hanging heavily over the movie. So I think Marvel is sailing into some uncharted waters, but I think it can also be an exciting time for creative storytelling possibilities. So it'll be interesting to look back on this conversation a year from now and see how Marvel is doing.
Yeah, look, I mean, they still had 2 movies in the top 5, so I mean, it's not like, ooh, woe is Marvel, like I'm not crying for them yet. I mean, I think the big question for us, I mean, obviously, I think we all thought that Marvel would get, the top 2 spots, either 2 and 3, or because I had picked Jurassic World Dominion to be number 1, but still, I thought that Doctor Strange and Thor would be like 2 and 3. So, and then we had the question of which one we thought was going to do better, because they're both different very different movies, very different tonally, and with a lot of other things going on. They don't seem to be connected to one another either. So, it's still early in this phase. So the movies aren't going to really just play off each other just yet. They're still wide open as far as an individual, as far as the movies themselves. I think, if I'm not mistaken, that Ashley and I kind of thought that Doctor Strange would do better than Thor. Is that right?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
at least we won that battle, right? So
Yeah.
like the battle of the Marvel movies, right?
Yeah.
I am surprised to see Thor so far down.
Yeah.
I thought it would be, like I said, 2 and 3, bam, bam. But it just I think we're starting to see a number of factors, and yes, maybe there is some sort of fatigue setting in with Marvel, but I think moreover it's just the fact that, hey, these movies are going to be on streaming. You've just wait a couple months, boom, and they sure enough they were. Both Doctor Strange and Thor, I think within 2 months were streaming on Disney Plus. So the movie theaters are still hurting. I think Regal went under. Fire chapter was it 13, and they're not completely gone yet, so they're still out there, but that leaves AMC as like the big movie chain in this country.
But AMC is holding on just by the skin of their teeth right now.
That's true. I mean, I don't know what your experience has been, but I mean, going to the movies this year, when I went to my AMC theater, there was usually only 1 or 2 people working tops. It was not very well attended. Most of the movies that I saw did not have like packed theaters by any means. So I think it's still taking a while for America to go back into the movies, with the exception, of course, of Top Gun, which everybody went and saw except for apparently Mike and myself.
Yep, pretty much.
I think so. And then they re-released it. So, but I think it's also like a true, Labor Day weekend. We just came off of Labor Day weekend.
Did you guys both freeze up? Well, shit. Sugar. Yeah, that's it. We're recording still, so. Did we just lose internet? Oh, that was weird.
And he's back.
There we go. It was weird. Keep going where you're going from, though.
I don't know what the last thing you saw was. The last thing you heard was.
That both of us didn't go see Top Gun.
Okay. All right.
So just go from there.
All right.
Because I was still recording it from that point. So
gotcha. So neither one of us saw Top Gun, but apparently everybody else in America did. But it's a true testament to I think the strain that the theaters are going under right now. I mean, speaking of going under, I mean, Regal Theaters did file for Chapter 13, so they're in a lot of trouble. The AMC theaters that I went to had minimum staff, as well as very few attendees in the audience. So I think America's still trying to figure out how to go to the movies and when to go to the movies. And I don't, I don't know if we're ever going to get it back. But,
exactly.
I think the summer movie season is going to look like pretty much like this for a little while.
It's interesting because, it's just a slew of sequels or, movies connected to other films and other times. And it's just was really interesting to see how that came about and everything. But also at the same time, like you said, Regal has filed for Chapter 13. AMC is holding on by the skin of their teeth, too. So, and like you said, there's theaters that are empty. We have not gone to a theater this summer, and we've seen multiple films that had more than 50% full,
right,
at the most. And that's saying a lot right there. So it's just really interesting to do. All right.
And, I know. And there's just real quick. And there's no like there's not a lot of content that the companies are releasing, studios are releasing because of all the delays with COVID. They're still playing catch up. I mean, we just had Labor Day weekend, and there was not a major release in sight for Labor Day weekend. And throughout all the month of August,
they haven't had major releases on Labor Day weekend in years. They've had,
and there wasn't any major releases in August either. I mean, we all saw Bullet Train, but that was, I will say, you're right, Mike. Whereas the theater, the studios are pretty much releasing things that are mostly franchises. But I will say it is kind of nice to see that out of the top 10, 4 of the movies are original and have nothing to do with franchises. So
that's cool.
That's pretty refreshing.
No, that's a good point to put it. That is a very, very good point. And, a few of the movies I went to go see were at least originals and weren't, spin-offs or sequels or, based off a TV show or anything like that. So it'll be interesting. All right. A lot of this people who are listening to us right now are probably going, get onto the list already. We want to hear how you did. We've got our eggs ready for us. Come on. So you guys ready for the top grossing films, the picks by the folks of Earth Station 1?
Let's do it. Let's rip off the Band-Aid.
All right.
Yeah, let's just move on.
Let's throw Alex under the fire first. Since he's not here. Alex picked Doctor Strange to be the top grossing film. Ashley, she picked Doctor Strange to be the top grossing film. Mike Gordon picked Jurassic World. And Mike Faber, Doctor Strange. So that says something right there. We had our hopes in Marvel, except for Mike. Because you thought dinosaurs were going to be the big thing this summer.
I really had higher expectations for this movie than they played out to be. I mean, we talked about it in our review, but there was no reason that this movie did not succeed. It was theirs to lose, and they lost it because they gave us just not what we wanted as far as the movie, I think.
No, and you're completely right. We had hopes that this movie, with the returning of the original cast of the original 3, and for the joining with the new, but the story stank. The story was horrible. We did get really cool dinosaurs. I won't say that we didn't. It was awesome to see the dinosaurs. Too bad we couldn't just had dinosaurs and no actors.
Well, I don't want to brag on the acting too much. It was the writing most of all, and it just did not give us what we wanted. We wanted a world, infested with dinosaurs and mankind on the brink of trying to survive, and instead we got the same old, trapped in a park, trying to escape. They just keep going back to that well, and as long as they do, I think you're going to see the Jurassic franchise just keep getting lower and lower. You want to talk about fatigue?
It was the same trope. It literally was the same trope as everything. Yeah. Ashley, what about you? How did you?
Well, it was frustrating because I felt like it really was poised to be like the Force Awakens of the Jurassic World franchise, bringing together the newer characters, the classic characters. And I mean, the setup, the teaser from the previous movie was so good. The idea of these dinosaurs just infiltrating the planet and like the ecosystem not being prepared to support these huge creatures and how that would change the world. And the answer was not really too much, but there might be some bioengineered locusts. It was just, I wasn't even angry after I walked out of the theater. I was just so sad because the potential was so easy. It was right there. And it's just really sad that they missed it. So I think if they had, given people a little bit more what they were expecting, this could have been a home run. So I'm sad. Maybe someday we'll get the dinosaurs take over the Earth movie, but I'm going to have my hopes tempered for a little bit here.
I think that's totally understandable. All right. We made it through the first category already, folks. Second category, biggest flops. This is where, get the eggs ready, folks. Alex picked Top Gun to be the biggest flop.
Yeah, that's why he's not here.
Yeah, I know. He's hiding somewhere. All right. Ashley picked Minions. And Minions, I don't think, did as well as they were hoping it would with those
I don't
forecasts.
know. It's number 4. I mean,
Oh,
that's pretty good. Like, I mean,
Okay.
that's way higher than I thought.
All right. So, Ashley,
I
drink
failed.
up. You failed.
Yeah, I failed.
All right. Mike Faber. I picked Top Gun. I did. I admit it. And Mike Gordon, you also picked Minions.
I did.
We all a big whiff.
Yeah.
I'm still stunned. I mean, I haven't seen any of the Minions movies. Maybe I should, just because they're obviously a thing. But man, for Minions to, going along with that is the fact that Lightyear just did not even crack the top 5. I mean, how does a Pixar movie not do that?
That's amazing. Well, it's interesting, all the homophobia around Lightyear and the people bad mouthing it because of that. Lightyear was not a bad story. I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. And it wasn't what I was expecting it to be either. And that's what I liked also.
I was kind of surprised it didn't pick up more on the nostalgia again of like people that watched Toy Story as kids and then bringing their kids to see the movie, unless again it's streaming. People are like, I'll just wait till it's on Disney Plus. So, but yeah, interesting.
Mm-hmm. And you had Captain America as, Buzz Lightyear. So it's pretty awesome. All right. Surprise hits. Alex had picked Nope. And it did fairly decent at the theater.
Number 7 in the top 10. So, I mean, at least it cracked the top 10, right?
I haven't heard anyone who didn't like Nope who went to go see it. And
yeah, I haven't seen it myself.
I haven't seen it yet. I was going to wait for streaming to see that.
Ashley, did you see it?
Yeah, it's a good story. And normally I don't go to see horror movies in theaters, but kudos to Jordan Peele, who so captured my attention with Get Out that, and the trailers for Nope had me intrigued enough. It's like, I'm going to be brave and I'm going to go to the theater and see it. And it was just great to see such a creative storyteller get to tell a gigantic story on the big screen. It's an original story, not attached to a franchise, and just kind of a sci-fi horror adventure with a little Steven Spielberg. So it was a great story. I highly recommend it to those who didn't get to see it in theater. Definitely check it out on streaming.
Nope, definitely.
The popular opinion that I'm hearing is that it's good. It's probably the weakest of his 3 movies, but it's good. So I'm interested in it. So I'll check it out at some point, but not in the theater.
Me too. Actually, we got to see a couple of Nope cosplays at Dragon Con this last week.
Nice.
So it was pretty awesome. So
I think
actually,
we probably saw cosplays of all these things.
I didn't see any Top Gun. I did not see any Top Gun at the.
Yeah, that's true. It must have been.
I'm sure they were there. It's not that hard to dress as Maverick.
Exactly.
So, unless you fly around with a plane or something, Okay, Ashley did pick Nope also as her surprise hit. Mike Faber picked Bullet Train. So did Mike Gordon.
Yeah, number 10. I mean,
it cracked the top 10. That's something.
It did. Yep, it did.
And we weren't sure how well it was going to do when we reviewed it on the podcast, even, and everything.
I think. Go ahead, Ashley. Sorry.
Yeah, I could see it becoming like a cult classic, like something that people discover it later on. Like it's quirky enough. I could see it something that gaining some legs as it goes on to streaming and more people discover it.
Bullet Train got a lot of good word of mouth too. And everything.
And I think it's one of those. I think it's a true indicator of what's happening in theaters. I think in a normal year, pre-pandemic, Bullet Train does a lot better. Mm-hmm. But now people are just sort of used to seeing things at home, and if they don't have to go to a movie theater to see something big, some big event that's going to be spoiled within 2 hours after it's released or whatever, I think they're like, oh, I'll just sit home and wait for it, and it'll come.
Nope, agreed. Agreed. And I think, you know, definitely, folks, if you haven't seen it yet, Bullet Train is a ton of fun. It is a fun movie. It's not going to be anything that opens your eyes like, oh my God, I've never seen that before. But it is a fun romp. And it'll surprise you at points, too. So definitely check it out. Okay, let's get into our top 3 movies. Okay, Ashley had Downton Abbey. She also had Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris, and also Bullet Train for the top 3 you were looking forward to.
Yeah, these are not what we thought would be the box office top 3.
No.
These are the top 3 that we were personally looking forward to.
Yes.
So I'm curious because I didn't see some of those movies, Ashley. How did they work for you? Were they everything you wanted?
Yeah, I really enjoyed the Downton Abbey movie. Again, not necessarily anything groundbreaking, like, wow, my mind was blown, but I really enjoyed it. It's just a cozy movie. I love seeing those characters. So it's just one of those that made me feel good. I actually did not get to see Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. It never ended up coming to my theater locally, which I was really sad about. I'm hoping to catch it once it becomes more widely available on streaming. But again, just kind of sad. That was one that I really enjoyed and then saw a lot of trailers for, but it never ended up coming to my theater. So it was sad that I didn't get access to that. And Bullet Train, you know, I enjoyed. I think initially I was a little bit disappointed. It didn't wow me as much as I thought it was going to, but it was a decent time at the movies. And I felt like in the end, that's how I felt about a lot of movies that came out this summer. I enjoyed them, but they didn't like rocket to the top of this is one of the best things I've ever seen list. I think this is the first year, you know, I'm very much a movie girl. I love movies. It's my favorite storytelling form, but my favorite storytelling was actually on the small screen this summer. If you told me to pick my favorite story that I watched this summer, it would actually be on TV. So that was just kind of interesting too, different to see how stories impacted me. So it was a very interesting summer overall.
Mm-hmm.
Nope, I agree with that completely. I agree with that. All right. Alex had Thor that he was looking forward to, Minions, and Bullet Train. So, okay. Hopefully he enjoyed it.
Yeah.
That's all we could say. Mike Gordon, Doctor Strange, Thor. You said basically said the Marvel movies for the summer. Yeah. You also said Bullet Train, and you also said Elvis.
I did, and I still haven't seen Elvis. I didn't make it to the theater to see Elvis, but it's on streaming right now. I think this weekend it hit HBO Max, so I'll probably be watching it this week. And that's unfortunate. It just wasn't enough to get me to the theater. Most of the things that I saw because we were reviewing them. I think if we had reviewed Elvis, I would have gone to the theater, but I didn't. If I didn't have to go to the theater, I didn't go to the theater. And I think a lot of people are still feeling that way as well. I've heard good things about Elvis, so I'm looking forward to it. I'm overall pleased with Bullet Train. I think I didn't like it as much as you guys did when we reviewed it. But it is a fun movie, and I'm certainly proud of the fact that it's on the top 10. It's nice to see that it made it there, especially when you look at some of the things that are below it. That could have just bumped it off. I mean, you know, Fantastic Beast. It's like, what happened to that movie? Like that just like died. Like it's just so strange to see that something like Bullet Train could beat, you know, a Harry Potter movie.
It's interesting. Does Fantastic Beast count as a summer movie? Because it was, I think, it was released in April.
It was April 15th, so I don't know. I mean, the line on summer is getting blurred. So
the same way fall and winter,
yeah.
You know.
Exactly. So, the fact is, if you look at the yearly totals, though, you know, it didn't do that well. So it's just like, wow, that's interesting.
No, agreed completely. All right. My last but not least, my 3 that I had been looking forward to was Downton Abbey, Lightyear, and then also Jazz Fest, a New Orleans story. We actually had the producer on the show not that long ago, Mike's cousin.
Mm-hmm.
And which was really awesome. I still haven't seen it, though. I have not seen it.
I know.
And I would love to, when it starts streaming, I'll definitely be there to see it. Even though it has Jimmy Buffett, it'll still be fun to watch.
I thought you liked Jimmy Buffett.
I do overall, but, you know, you know, you put a bad taste of Jimmy Buffett in my mouth. So, you know, it puts, you know, when I think about that, it's like, oh, Mike and Michelle don't like these guys, you know, so that's okay.
Well, yeah.
But it's interesting that, you know, we had all these different ones we were looking forward to, and some of us didn't even go to see some of these that we were looking forward to. And it's not like summer flew by, but it didn't fly. You know, it wasn't like all so much. But it was also interesting too, because I'm going to throw a little wrench in this now, and I want you off the top of your heads the 3 top movies that you enjoyed the most over summer. And it doesn't have to be on the list even. It could be just 3 movies that you saw. So I'm going to start with Mike Gordon.
My favorite movie of the summer, you alluded to it a little while ago, was one that wasn't released on the big screen but should have been, which was Prey.
Oh yeah.
Prey was on Hulu. It's part of the franchise of Predator, but it feels fresh. It doesn't feel, I mean, it, you know, I think it might be the best film in the franchise, certainly right up there with the first one. It's so well done and so fun for an action movie, but yet it's got something to say. It's well shot. And it sounds good. I wish I'd gotten the luxury of seeing it in a Dolby theater. I think it would have really enhanced the viewing even more. But that's my top movie, I think, for the summer. And then you know, I dug the Marvel movies, Doctor Strange and Thor, in that order, because I did like Doctor Strange more than I like Thor. So I will put those, you know, in the top 3 as well, I guess. Everything else was kind of there. Some were better than others. You know, the only Bullet Train was good, but not as good as I wanted it to be. Same thing with Lightyear. Downton Abbey was solid, but I think, as we discussed in our review, I think there was some stuff that was not necessary in that movie as well. So really, for me, it's Prey, and then the other 2 movies, the Marvel movies.
Okay, there you go. Ashley, what about you?
All right, I will say my 3 favorite movies, but first I just want to cheat and give a shout out to my favorite story, which is Star Trek Strange New Worlds. I love that show so much. But I will talk about movies now. So my 3 favorite movies are, or I think the best stories I saw, are a kind of an eclectic collection. I really did enjoy Top Gun Maverick. I was not expecting to. I didn't even enjoy Top Gun that much, but it came out during just a time that was difficult. My cat was diagnosed with cancer this summer and passed after about a month, and the movie came out in the middle of that. And so it was just kind of a good chance to go to the theater, be distracted by just kind of a fun, feel good movie. So it was kind of what I needed to be when I needed it. So that's a movie that I was good to go out to the theater and see. I also really enjoyed Elvis. I thought it was a great use of his music, and also the way they kind of told the story in a stylized manner. I just thought it fit him very well, and I really liked that. And then also Nope, I felt, was a really good original story. So I don't think that going in, I would have picked those to be the 3 best movies I saw this summer, but that's why I love going to see movies, is being surprised. So I was happy to discover some new things that weren't originally on my radar.
Awesome. Yeah, for me, I'm probably going to have to say my 3 movies, of course, Prey was one of them, was just amazing. And for me, it came out of nowhere. I hadn't even heard that it was coming. So, you know, when I saw that there was a new Predator movie on Hulu and people started talking about it, it was just like, okay, I got to watch this before it's completely spoiled. And I sat down like one afternoon instead of working and watched it. So it was worth it. It really was worth it to see. Also, I got to add to my list, of course, was Elvis. Elvis was so much fun. It was heartbreaking at points. It was fascinating in parts also. And it was great to see Tom Hanks as a villain. And because Colonel Tom Parker was a real SOB, and Tom played it up to the hilt. I really enjoyed to see that. He didn't try giving Colonel Tom a heart or something like that, or, oh, he's not as bad as, they said he was or whatever. No, he was a jerk. And the Elvis part and the mixing of the actual Elvis stuff put in together with, the actor and the live video. So it's going to be very, very interesting. So I am very happy to, say that one. And of course, Bullet Train. I loved Bullet Train. We went with Judy and Tyra and her husband Shane to go see it. And when we were up at the world's largest yard sale, we had to do something in the evening. So we went to go see Bullet Train. And they had the three of them had never heard of it. They were falling out of their seats laughing with this film. And that's what you want from the movie. We all walked out of there. We were exhausted from doing the yard sales all day. But we walked out of there so pumped up and like, we got to go ride a bullet train now and see what happens. It's awesome. There's no bullet trains in the middle of somewhere Tennessee, but it was fun. But it was good. And, all three of those movies beat my expectations with what I was expecting. And that's what I wanted from it. And the others, were meh. That's the honest truth. The Marvel movies for me were meh. Some of the other movies that we reviewed, Downton Abbey, I was so looking forward to. It was like coming home to an old family and old friends, but it didn't leave a lasting impression. When I saw that was on our list to pick for summer, I was like, it came out in the summer? I thought it was like a year ago or something and everything. That's how far from my memory it was. But that's what happens. And the dinosaur movie, don't get me started. Don't get me started. So it's real interesting. So that is our summer movie 2022 reviews. What did you guys think? Please write us feedback@earthstation1.com. We definitely would love to hear from you guys there. We're going to take a quick break and we will be back in a moment. And we are going to be looking at the fall and winter movies. We're not going to do what our picks are or anything. We're just going to talk about what movies are coming out, what we'd like to see, and we'll go from there and see where it goes. Let's take a quick break and we'll see you in a moment. Boom.